What's up, Back Nostalgia? Dave here with a review of We Live in Time, the new romantic drama film starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. This is the latest film from Irish director John Crowley. His previous film, the Goldfinch adaptation, we don't have to talk about. But before that, he made a similar-ish movie to We Live in Time, of course, Brooklyn, starring Saoirse Ronan and Emery Cohen. We Live in Time premiered earlier this year at Toronto and is now in release from A24, a moderate release that's slowly expanding. We Live in Time is a successful romantic drama film due to the immense, palpable chemistry between its two stars, Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. Garfield, unsurprisingly, is good at portraying a sensitive man, but Pugh gets to show so many sides of herself with a performance that changes as her character does throughout the story. The structure of We Live in Time is pretty notable because this movie is very distinctly non-linear. We're spending tons of time with this relationship, of course, across the timeline. We learn about bad things, we see the meet cute, we see the good, the bad. It's out of order intentionally, and I think in the beginning of the movie, it might be a little hard to understand exactly where you are, but the structure becomes a bit more straightforward as we find the present-day plot line. If the acting performances weren't as strong as they are and the chemistry wasn't so evident, I don't think this movie's structure would allow it to succeed. However, I think the overall sentiment and statement that the movie's trying to make about relationships is definitely hammered home, perhaps a bit overtly, a bit obviously, by this structure. Garfield's character, Tobias, is a mid-level management character at Weetabix. He's pretty successful, yet a bit forlorn as he's, recognizing his age and the fact that he's still single after getting divorced, namely. And he has a chance meeting with Almut, who is this successful, heralded chef character. And they hit it off right away. I think the meet cute scene is really funny because it's kind of out of nowhere. There was actually a lot of laughs in my theater throughout this movie. There was one guy in the theater who was cackling at times. It was a bit over the top, if you ask me, but there are some funny, humorous moments. There's also some very heavy moments with this. And again, we talk about childbirth in this movie and whether they want it or not, and that is a really strong scene. And it's also not really a spoiler to say that they end up having kids, and you know that they have a child before you see the scene about them being completely at odds with that. The movie almost hammers home or colors in some of your feelings about where these characters stand. I think the overall take of what you want to leave behind and what you want to be remembered for in life and afterlife is pretty resonant. I think it was a pretty successfully emotional conclusion to the movie, but more than anything, I think it's definitely just really worth it for it being a two-hander star vehicle. Honestly, good sex scenes as well. I think it would be foolish for this movie not to include something like that with these two incredibly beautiful people at its lead. Garfield very much is in line with expectations. We know he can do this kind of performance quite well. It's not that far off from his version of Peter Parker in No Way Home, for example, right? He's pretty good at wearing his heart on his sleeve in a genuine way. But Florence, as we've known, has been, one of the signature actors the last, 6-7 years at this point. And unlike Don't Worry, Darling, this is a movie that does come together and does have a compelling romance in its core. And Pugh continues to just make great choices and work with great talents and take on good projects. And for the most part, I think everything her and Garfield are attaching themselves to is working. Pugh has said that she wants to work a little bit less in the short term because she's just been so busy, so balls to the wall, unsurprisingly, the last handful of years. So this is a good one, I think, to leave us with for some time. And of course, Marvel's Thunderbolts is coming out next year, so she'll still be in our lives. But yeah, I think this is definitely up there for the filmography of both of these actors, to be honest. I think it's quite successful, quite moving, and a nice comeback film for Crowley as well. Let me know, though, what did you think of We Live in Time? What was your favorite aspect of the movie? And for more movie reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.